Hello, lovely people. It's Shinywave here, and I decided, like everyone else on the internet, I'm gonna make a video about Detective Pikachu. Because I have some feelings about this film. It's kind of a hot topic, I know. Just two quick things as backstory. One, I love Pokemon, obviously. I've been a fan of the series since I was a child, and I know a lot about it, so this holds a lot of emotional weight for me, okay? Second of all, I went into this with a positive attitude. I wanted this movie to be good. I know everyone was roasting the trailers and dragging it through the mud, but in all actuality, the idea of a real-life Pokemon movie, it's a really cool thing, right? If they did it right. Which, obviously, it's probably more likely that they weren't going to do it right. So that's why most people were negative, and I get that, but I wanted to be positive about it. I also feel that I should note, I never played the Detective Pikachu game. I'd like to, I just never got around to it. It kind of looked like a little silly to me, but I would be down to try it. So I don't know how closely this movie follows that game plot-wise. I don't know about that. I will be straight up and honest about that. So, let's start from the beginning of the film. I went to see this movie with two of my really good friends who are also kind of lifelong Poke fans. And we all were positive about it, for the most part. The initial sequence comes on and you see this giant shiny Pokeball and it like does the wiggle and it says the Pokemon Company and I was like, I'm in. I am hype. When that second trailer was released with I Need a Hero playing in the background, that was a good trailer. Like we were hype, okay? We wanted to love this movie. Did we? No. I'll just be honest. It wasn't a nightmare, but I have some criticisms about it that I'm going to get into. Let's start with the cityscape. I love a good Neo Tokyo, Blade Runner, kind of cyberpunky looking pink, purple, neon lights glowing, bowls of ramen with like, you know, steam coming off and like weird creatures everywhere. But I don't think it belonged in this movie, okay? Don't get me wrong, Blade Runner is my favorite movie of all time, and I am obsessed with that aesthetic. You'll kind of see it in my branding and such. Like, I love that look, I love that vibe. But it just doesn't make sense to me for Pokemon. That being said, I do like that they created a new city, Rhyme City. I thought it was cool. I didn't mind the city. Besides the like nighttime shots, like the daytime shots were very cool looking. There's this one scene where you see a bunch of Pidgeotto just like swoop in and it like the camera pans and like you see these little glimmers of Pokemon in the distance and it looks really cool and natural. And like we were instantly like, my friend Ashley and I looked at each other and we were like, wow, this is great. You know, it felt real. It was believable and it was really cool. The choices of the actual Pokemon they choose to include in the movie. This is a big gripe of mine. Granted, I know there's too many Pokemon. They couldn't have even put a 16th of all of them in this movie. And I know that. But there's certain canon ones that I'm like, how could you not include, like, Meowth? Coughing? Like, there were so many city grimy shots, like, would have been a perfect opportunity to put a Coughing in as an example. Some of the ones that were so proficient, like Apom? Who cares about Apom? Like, what a stupid one to feature, and it was one of the major ones, too. And granted, I think I'm a little salty about Apom also because in Pokemon Go, they've just been, like, everywhere for the last week because they're in the movie everywhere, and I just feel like they're just everywhere, and I hate them. They're like the new Apoms are the new Zubats, which also were not in the movie. How the fuck was there not a Zubat in the movie? Okay, so this issue kind of bleeds into the next one for me, which is kind of a complete blatant disregard for anything that has happened in the series within like the last 20 years. Hear me out. I get that they wanted to create, this is a new universe, this is a new story for these Pokemon. Like, this is a totally new thing. And I respect that. They've done that with every single entry in the game series. However, one thing they do to keep continuity is include some familiar canonized things, like a fucking Pokemon Center. Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, Brock. They could have mentioned any of these characters. They didn't even have to be front and center, but there could have been like a mention of them. Like, oh, someone could just be like in the background being like, did you hear that Team Rocket is stealing like people's Pokemon? Something like that. No acknowledgement of any of that backstory whatsoever. I think they mentioned the Kanto region maybe once. That might have not even happened, but I think maybe they mentioned it and that's it. We got Pokeballs. I mean, and that kind of initial scene in the Cubone with the protagonist in the field when he's catching the Cubone, and I'm like, okay, like that kind of felt like the beginning of a new game, right? But besides that, there was no familiar faces. No Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny. I mean, come on, they're like, it's a detective movie. Why was Officer Jenny not in a detective movie with Pokemon? I need to stop clapping, I'm sorry. Why was Officer Jenny not in this movie? It's absurd. It was a huge oversight, and I feel like it's ignoring all of these people who've been fans of the series for so long, and it was a huge missed opportunity and a major no-no to me. Okay, so aside from some editorial choices that they made from the environments and the creatures and the canon of the story, let's get into just the basic plot. I'm not going to go over the synopsis with you, just my feelings on it. It's fine. I feel like a lot of people had issues with the plot. I thought that perhaps the weird, grumpy, caffeine-addicted, talking Pikachu would bother me, but it didn't. Like, it was fine. It was a little silly, a little Hollywood, but it didn't bother me. Like, it was what it was. He was entertaining enough, and he was very cute. I'll give them that. I mean, Pikachu was fucking adorable. Like, I want one. The Pikachu part aside, I don't think there was enough detective stuff. Like the first kind of arc of the story was my favorite part, when him and Pikachu are genuinely kind of romping around trying to find clues. Like, that was cool and like entertaining, a little childish, but I liked it. It was when the kind of second and third arc of the story got involved with the guy who's trying to like merge humans with Pokemon and like have their powers in the body, like try to control them. It seemed a little too dark for Pokemon. I don't know. It wasn't like I can't handle it or that I don't think that Pokemon could go in that direction. It just juxtaposed against the like, I'm a cute detective, little Pikachu. It just didn't make sense to me. It felt more like the plot of like an X-Men movie, which I also love, but it just didn't feel like Pokemon to me. It just felt like a Hollywood movie that they threw Pokemon into at that point. And I didn't really care for that. I mean, I don't know. I do have mixed feelings about it because I do feel that the plot progression in the games has gotten darker with kind of each release. Like Ultra Sun, like and the whole like Ultra Beasts, I mean in the wormholes, like it's kind of getting to that direction. I don't think it'll ever go full dark like we would like, because at the end of the day, it is a franchise made for children. It has elements that are very complex and intricate that adults can get into, things like breeding and stats and, all of that stuff. So Pokemon inherently has always been a simple game that you can make very complex if you want to. But it's a choice thing. It also can just be a simple, relaxing game. So I get that they probably felt some conflict. Like, how do we demonstrate this in a film setting? And that's definitely difficult, and I don't know what the solution would be, but I'm just saying I don't feel that it really encapsulated the spirit of Pokemon. Does that make sense? I might have not said spoiler warning in the beginning, but like, duh. I'm telling you the ending, okay? If you don't want to know the ending, stop watching. Ryan Reynolds is his dad. What? Okay. Like, what? That is so lazy of them. Okay, so Mewtwo put the soul of his father into a Pikachu and then somehow converted him back into a human. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make any sense. He didn't look anything like the protagonist. He also looks like he's only about 10 years older than the protagonist. Like, Ryan Reynolds looks so young, and so is this protagonist, but not like young enough to be like a child. Like, he looks like he's like 25 going on 30. Like, the protagonist doesn't look young. It's just not believable, and it was so stupid, and it made me really angry. But fucking Diplo is in it. We had a big LOL about that after my 2 glasses of wine in the theater, seeing Diplo next to those, I don't even remember his name, the Pokemon with the dumb speakers. I don't like Explode. No, Explode is his evolved form. I don't know. Anyway, it was really silly, and we had a good little giggle about that. So, I didn't mind that. I think Diplo should have been the Ryan Reynolds character instead. That would have been better. So, in conclusion, I feel like this movie was entertaining enough. My father saw it with my little sister, for instance, and she loved it. So, like, your kiddos will probably like it. There's a cute little yellow fluffy thing, and it's a detective. It's cute enough, okay? It's entertaining enough, but it's really just enough. It's not great. It didn't wow me. I wouldn't go out of your way to see it in the theater unless you're like me and you're a fan and you were going to be here for it, whether it was a shit show or whether it was amazing. I don't know that you need to see it right away. I feel like this wasn't really a Pokemon movie. This was a Pikachu movie. And that was a little disappointing. They could have done better. They could have done worse. I wish I had a more interesting overall opinion than that, but that's my general, honest opinion. So, I also, as a bonus, I did record some footage on my phone right after we left the theater to get some initial, fresh, potentially slightly tipsy reactions from the people I saw the movie with. So if you would like to check that out, to keep on watching. And other than that, I'm signing off here. You have a great day, keep it classy, and thank you for watching. Bye! Go.
First reactions, just saw Detective Pikachu. I'm really offended at the fact there was no Meowth in the fucking movie.
Look at this dedication.
Excuse me, no Meowth at all in the fucking movie. I'm super offended, and they featured the same 7 Pokemon over and over and over again. Like, how lazy was the CGI in that movie? Let's talk about it. Because, like, what? I saw Lickitung, I saw Mr. Mime, I saw Psyduck. Who else? No one.
No one.
I saw Bulbasaur.
But no Squirtle Squad, which is a blasphemy.
One glimpse of the Squirtle Squad in the very beginning. That is it.
No, there was
else.
no squad.
But they were putting out the fire, remember?
Oh.
Yeah, the Squirrel Squad.
Okay, fine.
That's it. That's
okay,
it.
fine. Okay, fine.
But nothing else other than that. Luckily, I didn't buy my ticket, so it's fine. But I'm still pissed.